Far from some recent words expressed on the world stage, we have not been able to put much into words since you left us. There have been many, many tears, silences, hugs, loneliness, reflection, and collective loss for you, our beloved husband, father, grandfather, brother, brother-in-law, and cousin. We, like many, thought you would be here forever. The world seemed to be a brighter place on January 7th, 1943, when Mr. and Mrs. Lee Maddox proudly announced the birth of their son, Larry Lee Maddox. The joy has been shared with the world for just shy of 80 years. Mr. and Mrs. Maddox got more of a bargain than they could have asked for in Larry. He grew up a typical young man in Tulare, California, enjoying the usual mischief of boys growing up in a small community. He loved riding his bike all over town and was very proud of his job at the gas station across the street from his home. Larry lived with his parents and sisters, Carolyn, and graduated from Tulare High School. He then attended the College of the Sequoias in Visalia, California. Few people even knew of his college years, as he was not the one to speak of himself. In 1964, our country called, and Larry answered. Uncle Sam needed Larry's service in the U.S. Army, and Larry served 2 years in Vietnam before returning to civilian life, with his honorable discharge in hand. In 1966, Larry met the love of his life, Midge, and her little family. Soon thereafter, Larry found himself a happily married man and the father of 3 lovely daughters, Debbie, Linda, and Paula. We have all heard of many ready-made families. This is not your typical story for Larry and Midge. Larry took these 3 girls as his very own, and they to him. He was the ideal father. Certainly a streak of good fortune for all concerned. Later, the family was completed by the birth of a 4th child, the son, Gary. It was wonderful, a loving marriage for nearly 55 years that grew to include 6 grandchildren: Billy, Ashley, Jessica, Bish, Colton, Courtney, as well as 4 great-grandchildren: Keith, Andrew, Reagan, and Rowan. All Larry's grandchildren affectionately knew him simply as Papa. Larry's ever-present work ethic led him to several endeavors, including successfully managing an automotive parts store in Fairbanks, Alaska, followed by a second career driving semi-trucks, taking him from one end of the country back to the other again. His driving career lasted until he retired in 2017 at the age of 74. Larry and Midge's adventure included moving the family to Fairbanks, Alaska in 1974, and later to Washington State, and finally to Mesa, Arizona. Throughout the years, there were times of laughter, love, challenges, and trials as well. There was Larry's constant steadiness and patience, which comes in handy, as it does for most dads when children become teenagers. Many moments of winks and teasing were witnessed over the years between Larry and these 3 girls and their brother as they grew into adults. We will always remember Larry for a bit of him seems to have rubbed off on all of those who knew him. He was deeply respected. Many of us learned by his example of strong work ethic and his obvious devotion to Midge and their family. Let that, along with his memory, remain with us for the rest of our lives. The Maddox family, along with the rest of us, have been hit very hard by the loss. Larry's quiet nature, always busy, always smiling, always providing a helping hand, and putting others before himself, no doubt led to our guards being down, and we have been blindsided. It will be up to all of us to provide support we can for Midge. She has always been there for us, and now it's time for us to give her all the love and support we can and honor the way in which Larry loved her. As Jan recently put so well, one never says Larry without Midge, or Midge without saying Larry. We thank you both for being a wonderful example of what can be achieved between 2 people with the depth of love that you shared and showed us all. Larry, Dad, Papa, father-in-law, we love you greatly and we'll miss you always.